Hello and welcome to another part of the vlog with your host Joe Trohman. So we're continuing our modding of the Joe Trohman signature model, and we are in a different room because the other room has laundry in it. Yes, in this section we'll be dealing with modding the Pickguard so you can fit the switches that you want. There's one thing that's a little bit different about this time compared to anything else I've ever done is I'm using little slider switches. So I've got to cut rectangular holes, which I've never done. So that's going to be probably done with a needle file, but I'll let you know in a bit. But first, here's how you prep. So basically, what you can do is you can get your body all nice and you can see all the cavities. Then what you can do is get a piece of tracing paper or greaseproof paper and basically make some holes in it and line them up with the pickguard holes, and basically you'll first trace the pickguard onto the piece of paper, and then you once you have a trace of that, you can line that on top of all of these holes and then do a trace of the cavities so you can know whereabouts you can place stuff, and then it also gives you an idea of where you're going to want to route. So I'm going to be wanting to route here, maybe a little bit here and some here. Yeah, basically that's a nice way to get your ideas out. And then when you're modding the pickguard, what you want to do is you want to put some masking tape on top of it where you want to draw, and then very, very accurately mark out the dimensions of where your switches are, and what size of hole you want to use. So for this I've got all these holes for the 3-way switches, and then one of the original holes is going to be kind of half on one of the 2-way switches, and that's probably the first one I'll do, and I'll do a couple and then I'll show you how, just so I can perfect the art. And then basically once that's done, we can wrap the body in masking tape and bolt the pickguard on, and then basically mark where all the holes in the pickguard are on the body, and then we can basically kind of get a nice accurate place of where we want all our cavities to be, which will probably be in the next segment. Yeah, so the main point to take from this is you can do a trace of the body with some tracing paper. You can first draw on the pickguard and all its holes, then you overlay the trace on the body and kind of do a rubbing of the cavities, and then you can put all your parts onto your tracing. You just see how everything lines up, and then put masking tape on your pickguard where you want to mark where new things are. Be careful not to mark your pickguard. I mean, a pencil is pretty soft, it should be quite okay, but if you're going to do anything like in pen to make it a bit more defined, you just want to make sure. It helps if you still got the like pickguard protecty plastic on top. But yes, I will get on that and I'll show you the details on how you actually mod the pickguard in a mower. Okay, so we are in the garage. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 of the holes, and I think I've perfected the art. It's been all day. We've got 3 left, so I'm just going to show you how to do one of them. Okay, so these are the pickguard holes. These ones look a lot nicer than those ones. But basically, first of all, you want to start by getting a drill and a drill bit the size of the screws that you need to use, that go in the corners there and there. And first, and don't make the same mistake I did, and if you make that mistake you will get that happen. Basically, use an object to make a dent where you want the hole to be, so that the drill doesn't veer off. And usually I'd use a center punch, but this isn't really a center punch, but I'm using it as a center punch. So first of all, I'll just quickly drill those holes. I'll show you the next stage. What's a good thing to do is you get 2 blocks of wood that are the same, and then you can like drill down into that kind of area, and it means that you don't damage the surface and you're not doing it hanging over nothing, so it's maximum support. So basically now I'll do a center punch on the hole to show you how it's done. So as you can see, there's a little X marked right there. What I'm going to do is put it over the wood so it doesn't break. Just firmly make a dent, and that'll stop the drill from skipping. And now I'll drill the holes. The holes are now drilled. As you can see, they're slightly to the left of the center line. So basically, that's why you carry a ruler and a pencil, just to slightly offset your hole in the center. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a drill bit that is slightly smaller than the intended size of that. I'm going to do 3 holes in the middle running along, and that'll be like the basis for when I start filing it with needle files and later with a big file. This isn't the professional way to do it. I think the professional way to do it would be to use a plastic press, which literally just goes and just kind of cause it. Or I reckon if this was being done at the workshop at work, what they'd use is a wire rotor machine, which like has a big piece of wire that's just like going shh, and then effectively it's just downwards what you see, and they'd cut the hole out, kind of like a really thin coping saw, I guess. But yes, I will drill those 3 holes now, and then I'll show you the next stage. So these holes are drilled. Another alternate way that you could do this is you could use a router to route out the channel and then file out the corners. But I'm just going to do it with drill and then file out the corners myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to file between these holes and then make it thick enough so I can use the big file. And then you just have to be really slow and work it as gently and as carefully as you can. Oh, a nice thing about using triple ply pickguard is that you can see how far you're going through by the like kind of bits of pickguard that come out of the drill, which is quite a nice measure. And if it wasn't already obvious, if you want to drill a hole for a pot or something, you kind of, just drill a hole for a pot. And if you want to do a slider switch, then this is probably best done with a router, and you just like make a channel with a really small router bit. And router is same thing for the pickups, because they're quite big. But for this, because it's square edges, I'm using a needle file, but I'm pretty sure the correct way would be use a wire router or a plastic press. But yes, I'll file for a while, and when I'm close to putting the switch in, just to kind of preliminarily, if that's a word, then I'll make another little segment. Hello, so we have a hole now. It is mostly done with these needle files to like bridge the holes, and then this file for the main work. Okay, so the hole is pretty much done, but what I want to do now is countersink these holes. Countersink is like what's on these pickguard holes, so they're kind of like cone shaped down, so that the screws, which are so small, so the screws are like this kind of shape. Focus camera, focus. It's not going to. I hope you can see that. But they're kind of like a V shape, so that makes them sit flat. Countersinking. Okay, so countersinking is meant to be done with a countersinker, like this. So you like put it into the hole and then it drills out and it makes this nice profile. But unfortunately, these screws are so small that I don't actually have, or my dad doesn't have a countersink for that size. So I'm using a big drill bit, and I'm going to by hand gently just do that on each of the holes. And the nice thing about this pickguard is you can see where you get to, so I because of the triple binding, so I know exactly how far they need to be to look nice. But you'll need to experiment on your guitars yourself. But I'm just going to quickly do that slowly, and then we'll keep going. Okay, so the screws are now screw holes are now countersunk, and just to reiterate, all I did was literally just do that slowly, maybe with the other hand on top of there, and then just like that. That's literally how I did it. I didn't use any tools. I definitely wouldn't do it with a power drill. So now we can install the switch in there, and then oh, that's the wrong switch. I can install the switch in there and kind of see what leeway we have. So I'll quickly put it in. Okay, so the switch is installed. As you can see, there's a little bit more on the bottom than on the top gap, and also you probably can't notice it, but it's very obvious to me that the screw holes are slightly too close together. So I'm just going to use another a needle file and just adjust those slightly outwards. That was probably slightly poor marking on my part. And I'm also going to, after that, I'll put the switch back in to see if it needs any leeway. I might take a little bit off the top edge. Also, you want to make sure that the switch gets its full travel, so I might take a bit off each of the side edges as well. Another useful thing to have around is a Stanley, like here, and just a lot of the time when you file, you kind of get the pickguard like just building up here, and then you can just cut it off. It's stuff basically looks like this. It's kind of what it's probably a combination of the glue on the aluminium shield. But yeah, that's basically how you make a cavity. I don't really think there's much more point in me saying anymore. You just need to keep on adjusting it and plan it. So the next video will probably not be in the garage, and I'll probably show you what it looks like with all the bits and bobs in, and then I'll probably leave it to the next segment to show you how to route the body and how to plan routing the body. So yes. And we are done doing the pickguard. So it's not amazing, but it's not terrible, and most importantly, it works. And unless you're looking at it with a magnifying glass, once the switches are in, you're not really going to notice. So yeah, that's how you do a pickguard with minimal tools, just files and a drill. And yeah, I think that's looking quite good. I'm quite happy with that. So the next segment will probably be doing the bodywork if the weather's nice. So ciao for now, and a good night.